Hey, beautiful people. I'm back with you today, and today we're going to cover the beginning of how you write emails with ChatGPT. So, this is your ChatGPT quick tip number 7. And you can find them all if you gather around and go through all the videos I've already done for you. So, I wanted to show you kind of the next step up from what we did yesterday or recently, which was the opt in. And a little side note here, we have some work being done in the house. So it's real life here and this is live. So you might hear a dog bark, but I'm going to keep right on going. So today we're going to take a look at how do we start getting emails out of ChatGPT. So before we take a look at that and I show you some specific prompts, you may be surprised at really kind of the fullness and the length of some of the prompts. Sometimes you can use very short ones to get started, but overall, you have to give ChatGPT something to work with. You know, you hear the term garbage in, garbage out, low quality in, low quality out. You speak to someone that doesn't quite understand what you're talking about, and your conversation isn't going to go very far because you're just not going to connect. Well, it's not any different with ChatGPT. You have to have the extensive conversation and a conversation starter so that ChatGPT can respond and you can respond in kind and the two-way conversation begins. And this is where you need to do some preliminary work, possibly, unless you know your topic up one side and down the other, or if you're writing for a client. There's ways to use ChatGPT to do the kind of the reconnaissance mission of gathering the intel and the observations and the other kinds of things that you're going to need as far as what are we working with and why. We're not covering that today. So we're going to imagine that we've already done that and we have a really good snapshot of what we're writing, who we're writing to, what their criteria might be. All of these things, again, can be covered when you use ChatGPT as your assistant, and so much faster. You know, I talked about a financial letter I wrote at the very beginning of my copywriting career, and I didn't know anything about um, Fibonacci curves. And I had to think for a minute because what I ended up writing was called Profitacci, and it was about day trading. I knew, like, you know, nothing, absolutely nothing. Did I mention nothing about that topic? And I had to research for weeks to be able to write a really great sales page for my client. And by the way, it worked because that stayed online for over a decade and it got sold, and this letter went with it, where the business got sold. But now with ChatGPT, you can do that kind of research so fast, like maybe an afternoon, maybe a weekend if you're really having trouble or struggling to get it going, but or literally in minutes, depending on what your topic is. So we're going to set the scene here before we take a look at the prompt. We're pretending that we're writing for a product that has to do with a Tucson realtor. This is totally made up, 100% made up. So you're not going to see myself referred to as a copywriter or my copywriting style or anything like that. We'll reference other ways of how we're going to set the tone for the conversation. And I've got the first prompt in place because they're kind of long, and so I'm going to copy and paste them into place. But I do want to go through them with you so you understand why I'm asking what I'm asking of ChatGPT and how you can experiment with your prompts and then develop it further and further when you start to see what's missing from your answer. And complete transparency, I play around with these prompts before we do this because I want to make sure I'm including everything. And that process of playing with the prompt has played out, so to speak, as I was getting ready to share this with you today. So let's take a look, okay? We're going to do a screen share through my good old ChatGPT. And here we go. All right. So the first prompt, and I always forget I have a little device that can make the cursor look really big, but I always forget to turn it on. So it's right down here. I'm going to read you the prompt. Today, you're my marketing assistant and writer. We're going to create an email sequence based on the opt-in guide we created. So we're assuming we've already done this preliminary work, right? The opt-in guide we've already created. I'm a realtor, not really, just pretending one right this minute. I'm a realtor who wants to sell more properties in Tucson, Arizona. Let's start with 5 reasons people would want to move to Tucson and 5 reasons they're not sure if it's a good decision. I want you to go beyond the obvious for this with new concepts and ideas that people may never have thought of. Be sure there is something that the reader can use right away. One of the ways I give value is to consistently make sure there is something actionable for immediate implementation without it being complex. Be conversational. Let's move it up. Be conversational but professional. confident but not arrogant, and ultimately very approachable so people will want to get to know you better. You can reference the style of great copywriters like Gary Bencivenga, Clayton Makepeace, and Gary Halbert as examples for writing style. Keep this in mind as we continue together. Remember, this will be just the first of an entire email sequence. Use the PASS formula, that's problem, agitate, and solution, for this if it is helpful. Do you understand the assignment? And I like to ask ChatGPT because it will repeat back what the assignment is, and you can make sure that you're on literally on the same page. So here we go. Let's see what we're going to get. I hit the magic button there. Absolutely, Tina. I've got a clear understanding of the assignment. We'll use the PASS problem, agitate, solution formula to create a conversational yet professional tone, drawing inspiration from some of the greats in copywriting. Let's dive into it. So remember, I asked for the 5 reasons people would want to move to Tucson, unique desert beauty, and I asked for a tip. So see how it's bolded right here, actionable tip. Plan a weekend hike to discover the serene desert trails. 2, cultural fusion. It talks about our Native American, Mexican, American traditions here. Actionable tip, explore a local market or join cultural festivals. 3, thriving market and emerging sectors. Actionable tip, network with local businesses or attend industry-specific meetups. Stargazing opportunities. Oh, it's amazing here, I got to tell you. Because one part we're not pretending is I really am in Tucson. So the stargazing opportunities and visit the local observatory is the tip. Strong sense of community. Attend a neighborhood gathering. 5 reasons people aren't sure if it's a good decision, because you want to cover all the bases here of that conversation that's already going on in your prospect's head. You might be going, well, I think Tucson sounds pretty neat, but boy, doesn't it get really hot there? That's one that comes up right away, right? So summer heat, solution, invest in proper cooling systems, enjoy indoor activities during peak hours, limited water resources, solution, embrace desert-friendly landscaping, potential for urban sprawl, solution, choose a location aligned with your values, local wildlife encounters. We have those all the time where we live, and we enjoy it. But solution, we had bobcats in our yard. I keep digressing, but solution, educate yourself on local wildlife and take precautions to coexist peacefully. That's what we do. And 5, distance from major cities. Feeling isolated from a big city might be a concern. Solution, explore Tucson's rich local scene. And remember, major cities like Tucson are just a short drive away. Okay, so I think that looks really good, right? What do you think when you're hearing these answers? I mean, I think these are really good creativity juggling solutions that ChatGPT is giving us. So, okay, I've got my next prompt ready, so I'm going to copy it. We're going to cheat that way because it's going to take too long for me to type them in. Let me get it here. Edit. Here we go. Putting in the next one. I am going to read it to you, though. So let's see what we got here. Okay. So I say, okay, good. Now let's keep in mind, now we're going to set the scene for ChatGPT, right? I'm giving it more context, more data to work with. So here we go. Okay, good. Now let's keep in mind we already have a landing page that includes these elements where the prospect has already opted in. I didn't even write it right. I didn't say ED on the end, but ChatGPT figures out your mistakes. Already opted in for a guide about life in Tucson. In the guide, you detailed these pros and cons and actionable tips. Now let's begin writing an email sequence as if they had just downloaded the guide called Discover Tucson, 10 Tips for Loving Life in the Old Pueblo. Keep the subject lines to no more than 40 to 50 characters so it is viewable in mobile and desktop. Make sure the first line of the email is the next thought related to the subject line that makes the reader want to open the email, but don't repeat the subject line. Think of it as a preview. Make the subject line start with an appropriate emoji, something different for each email, then first name, and then the subject line. Give me 10 subject lines for the first email. And let's see. Yeah, okay, let's go. Ready? Here we go. And so I got very specific. If you notice, I got very specific, and I made up the name for the guide just to give it something to work with. And Tucson is known as the Old Pueblo, if you haven't ever heard that. So here we go. We're getting our 10 subject lines. It's following my directions. It's putting in an emoji. It's putting in the preview. It's putting in a different emoji for each one. And it's giving me, it's almost there, 10 ideas. Now I'm using ChatGPT 4, the paid version. It's a little slower than 3.5, but it's smarter. and you just kind of get more out of it. And then I always love how ChatGPT ends up. Feel free to let me know which one resonates more with you. So let's take a look. Now, if you're not understanding the preview part, the preview can also, depending on what you're using for your email service provider, it might be called a snippet, It's called a preview. A lot of times it's just called a preview. And it's the next line that appears under the subject line. And you can do this sort of casually by just having that be the first line of your email, or there's a way in the email service providers to put in the preview. So if you're writing copy for a client, you could do this given the subject line and the preview. And the purpose of the preview is to really continue to get someone to want to open the email. So you don't want to say the same thing that was in the subject line, just like I told ChatGPT, you want to take it a next step. So we have our unlock Tucson's desert secrets, explore beyond the cacti and discover. Your new home awaits. So I got to look at these for a minute. So let's decide which one we're going to use. Your new home awaits in Tucson, ready to find the perfect spot. Experience the magic of Tucson's night sky. That's a starlit nights in Tucson awaits. Culinary delights. Oh my goodness, these are good. Tucson's job market, natural beauty, vibrant community, eco-friendly. Start your journey today. Oh my gosh, let's navigate your exciting new adventure. I think let's go with, oh, it's so hard because I like the taco emoji. Okay, I'm going with 4. The taco wins the day. We're going with 4. Okay, so let's get my next prompt ready because it's a long one. And we're going to plug it in right here. And see, I left it open for which one I would choose because I didn't know what I'd get. Because you'll find that even if you're playing around and testing this, you're going to get something different each time. So let's take a look. I put in number 4 because I can't resist the taco, and it taps into Tucson's vibe. So here's the prompt. Good. I like number 4 because it taps into Tucson's vibe. Remember, it's also one of the few UNESCO heritage sites for food worldwide. So it could be good to entice the reader with facts like that. Let's set them up to be excited to read and discover and actually look forward to the rest of the email sequence. There will be 7 nurturing emails in all, including a gentle call to action in each, a personalized subject line with a relatable emoji, and first name personalization at the beginning of the subject line as before. Include a preview or snippet that will be the next line the prospect sees to help encourage them to open the email. It should relate to the subject line, but not repeated. Sign off each time with your Tucson Dream Home Finder and a cactus emoji right after the comma, and leave room for a signature after that. Also, add a PS to cover one of the previously determined concerns or worries about life in Tucson. Be sure to create curiosity and anticipation for reading the next email, but don't use the word email in the message. Don't use the words hello, dear, opportunity, or mortgage, or click, because they are all potential spam trigger words. Let's start with the first email for the 7-part sequence. Whew, that's a long prompt, right? Let me just come back with you here for a minute because we're reading all this little tiny print. That's a long prompt, admittedly. But see, this is the thing. I'm having a very in-depth conversation with ChatGPT, giving it data, giving it context, giving it reference points, so it knows where to go. It's very well educated, but we have to guide it with what we start first. And so this should also kind of be a clue that the more you know about marketing, the more you know about copywriting, the better off you're going to be being able to do this and really get quality output. And so this is not just hit the button, ChatGPT spits something out, and we say, okay, good enough, right? We're going much deeper than that. We're going beyond the obvious, and we're letting ChatGPT know that's exactly what we want it to do for us. So we're going to go back to taking a look. Okay, here we go. Here's the prompt, and here comes my cursor. And let me find where I'm here. Okay, ready? Go. Let's see what we get. We're working in real time here, so I hope it doesn't stall out. There we go. Here we go. Okay, so there's my there's my prompt. I got a little stuck there for a minute. Okay, let's craft that first email of the 7-part sequence. So here we go. I remember I chose the one with the taco subject line. Taco, Tina, taste Tucson's culinary delights. That's kind of hard to say. Taste Tucson's culinary delights, but I love the alliteration. And the preview is savor the unique flavors of the UNESCO Food Heritage City. And it is a really rare designation that we enjoy here in Tucson. We have so many amazing restaurants from all different types of cultural persuasions. So, hey, first name, did you know Tucson is one of the rare UNESCO cities of gastronomy? It's true. Your taste buds are in for a real treat in the Old Pueblo. From savory traditional Mexican cuisine to innovative farm-to-table dishes, Tucson's culinary scene is a delightful mix of heritage and creativity. Whether you're a foodie or just love a great meal, you won't be disappointed. Are you excited to explore Tucson's vibrant dining culture? Here's a quick tip. Don't miss the local farmers markets. You'll find fresh ingredients, artisanal products, another word that's hard to say, and maybe even your new favorite dish. Looking for the perfect place to call home near all these culinary hotspots? Feel free to reply to this message and I'll share some hidden gems with you. Your Tucson Dream Home Finder. And look, there's my sign off with the cactus, just like I said, place for the signature. P.S. Worried about the summer heat in Tucson? I've got some cool tips, literally, that'll make you forget all about it. Stay tuned for my next message to discover how to embrace desert warmth. Wow. Come on now. Are you not impressed with how fast we got there? But what really mattered was the prompt I gave it so that it could draw on all that juiciness, a little touch of humor, personality, reference to the next email, because I said, don't call it an email. Why did I say that? Because it loses value. If you just say, hey, you're going to get more of the 400 emails you get a day in your inbox, I'll send you another one. We want to frame it as something more valuable than that. So these word choices are very important. And I had to refine the prompt a little bit because, for example, I forgot to tell it not to say the word click. And in one of the emails when I was playing around with this, it said click, right? And these are all just spam trigger words. There's lots of hot lists. I have them in my programs as well of spam, potential spam triggers. And so we don't want to use them in our emails. We want to make them as clean as possible in the sense of getting right through spam, potential spam filters or getting caught and not putting in a junk folder. So now we're going to go one step further and let's see where we're going, because we're it's sort of hard to stop when you do this because it's just really fun to see what you're getting also. Okay, so we're just going to do one more because we're not going to do a whole email sequence, but I want to show you, for example, what would be the next prompt if we were going to go ahead and go with that right now. So here's the next one. I said, this is great, thanks. And I'm always polite to ChatGPT. I mean, come on, you're working partnership. They're on equal footing with you, a super brain that's going to work out this marketing strategy. So I said, this is great, thanks. Based on what we have created so far, let's go with 10 email subject lines for the next in the 7-part sequence. Be sure to have one main point of focus for each of the rest of the emails drawn from the specific points covered in the guide they already received. And you know what? I just thought of another thing. Label it as email number 2 to keep the sequence clear for me. Label won't show a reader. There we go. Okay, so I was thinking, okay, we're going to have 7 emails. I want to know which one comes next, right? So we already have the first one. So this would be email number 2. So let's hit go. And I'm just kind of adding a little more to the prompt on the fly here. Here we go. Email 2 subject lines. See how that did that? Email 2 subject lines, just like that. And so it's remembering we want the subject line with an emoji, with the first name and a preview. And here it's giving us 10 potential emails for the next email that would go in the sequence. And see, we've been at this for not quite 20 minutes, and that's with me wandering off and telling you a few other little stories and cutting and pasting, copying and pasting and all that. So very, very quick, right? So let's see. First name on all of them. Experience Tucson's stunning sunsets. End your day with a breathtaking view. Explore a thriving art scene. Tucson's outdoor adventures. Tucson neighborhood. Desert flora. Bike friendly. Vibrant life. Let's see. Water smart. Starry nights. But here's one thing that I am noticing that we promised. Let's go back and look on the first one. The summer heat. Right? See, this is real life, live doing this. And so right now, it kind of forgot that we wanted to go with the summer heat. Okay. And so let me just tell it that right now. Hey, remember, we had a hint about dealing with the summer heat in the PS of email number 1. So let's make these subject lines for enow number 2 all about that. Okay, go. See, this is just on the fly. This is what I mean, that you're going to look and say, well, wait a minute, you forgot something. It's not going to be 100% perfect every second. And so look at that. My apologies for the oversight. Let's make sure email number 2 builds upon the hint about dealing with Tucson summer heat. Here are 10 subject lines focusing on that. And so now all of these are going to be about keeping your cool in Tucson in the summer, where we hit triple digits for a few months at a time. Today, I think it's supposed to be in the 90s here. So we're all going, wow, it's way cooler. And it honestly, it does feel way cooler. Okay, let's look. So we have beat Tucson's heat, dive into Tucson's refreshing pools, enjoy Tucson's shaded oases, explore Tucson's coolest hangouts, efficient cooling for your home, tastiest ice cream, comfortably in the summer, landscape, refresh. But you know what? I would go with number 1 because that just speaks right to it. And I would go with, hey, Tina, beat Tucson's heat with these tips. Stay cool and comfortable all summer, and a nice little sunshine emoji. Now, I have already been going longer than I intended to with this because it's so much fun to play with. And I would so easily just keep going right this minute, because it also, not only does it pique your creativity, it also piques your curiosity to see where are we going. And it's just like a whole different way, even though you come to this with a concept that you want to explore, and you have your data and you have your context for ChatGPT, there's still kind of this wonderful mystery to it of what are we going to get next? And hey, everybody, thanks for joining me today, those of you that are watching live right now. So I hope this was helpful to you. I'm sorry if it's gone a little longer than I anticipated, but I really wanted to show you how you can start digging in when you have your opt-in, and we can explore that one day of how do you create what the opt-in is going to actually deliver. ChatGPT can help you with all of these things. And this is what I'm doing now, is I'm combining this training with my ongoing coaching program called Accelerated Entrepreneur. I'm about to reopen it for a new cohort. It's been closed for a while I've been rearranging and working on things. And it teaches you how to write all the pieces of a marketing funnel, from opt-in all the way through to webinar and sales letter and emails. And now I'm infusing ChatGPT into the training to help you get there even faster. At first I thought, well, maybe it takes away from learning how to write copy, but actually it doesn't, because that's why I've been working with it for these many months now, because what I found is you will learn from it and you will learn faster. So it continues to compress time and maximize what you're able to do, and that much faster. And that means you can make more money, make it faster, be able to produce really quality work more quickly, do the research faster, everything. So if you're interested in that, we're going to be opening up probably beginning of September as far as actually getting going. Just drop me a line, drop me a message, and we can have a conversation about that. So it teaches you how to be a certified funnel copywriter, as well as now how to use ChatGPT to help you do it even more easily and faster. So hope you've enjoyed this today. Use this tip. Go back and think about how you can write more extensive prompts for what you're doing, and go deeper, go further, go faster with ChatGPT as your marketing buddy and a firm understanding of copywriting and marketing strategy. It's an unbeatable combination, and I'd love for you to experience that for yourself as well. So that's it for today. I'm going to be here tomorrow. This is Tina Lorenz. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.